some of my previous videos, you saw me using piece of software to read my Bible, to compare the translations, to peek at the original text, and to do a couple other things. In other videos, I was seen with a stack of Bibles. So do you prefer paper books or do you prefer ebooks? The software I was using in those videos is called Logos, and now that I have been using it for more than a year, I think I can say a thing or two about it. Should you buy it? Should you avoid it? Let's look at it together. As you can see, Logos is a desktop application that you install on your computer. There is a version for Mac OS and for Windows. We are using the Windows version here. There is also a web application that is actually very similar to the desktop application. It supports pretty much all the features, but it's a little clunkier and slower to use as you would expect. On the other hand, it's accessible from anywhere, so it's a neat feature to have when you don't have your computer with you. And then there is also the mobile application that supports quite a few of the features of the desktop and web application, but not all of them. We are going to be focusing on the desktop application today, and the version we are using is version 8 of the Logos software, which has a lot of improvements over the previous version 7. In its essence, Logos is an interlinked library of various resources, books, texts, and so on. So you can see I have my 904 books in here. So this is where your Bible translations, original Bible texts, commentaries, lexicons, dictionaries, ancient religious texts, ancient philosophical texts, and so on, everything would go in here. Logos comes in variety of flavors. So there is a basic package that comes with only 25 resources and most of the application features, but not all of them, and it's free, so you can give it a try. And then it goes through fundamental version with 50 resources and for $50 through the bronze, silver, gold packages all the way up to the collector's edition with over 7,000 resources for hefty $7,500 after 30% off. It is likely that for most of us it makes the most sense to land somewhere in the middle. So perhaps bronze, silver or gold packages are nice middle ground. They come with good library of resources, and then you can keep adding to them based on your areas of interest or based on what you are just studying, so that you are sure that whatever you are paying for is truly something you need. Logos also offers a free book per month, plus few at great discounts, so you can grow your library that way too. And obviously whatever you purchase here will pretty much right away appear in your application. It will get synced, it will get updated here. You can see that I have a couple of resources that got updated just recently. That's another good thing, that Logos keeps on updating, fixing the books and the resources that you already have, and your computer is constantly kept up to date with that. One of the basic things that you are going to do in your Logos software is reading the books that you have purchased. So let's open a book here. This is an Exodus introduction and commentary. So reading in Logos is just fine. You can increase the font size depending on your preferences. So that's just working as you would expect. What is a really quite neat feature is that you can create sets from your resources. So I have just opened a Bible translation, and I am going to make it part of set A, and I am going to do the same here in my commentary. So I have now two books that are part of the same set, and as I am reading through my commentary, you can see that the Bible is kept in sync. It's basically kept open at the appropriate section. So that I can just peek at my Bible as I am reading through my commentary. And you can do this with much larger sets of books, but there have to be a way they can be interconnected. So you can have multiple Bible translations, multiple commentaries opened at the same time, and as you are reading through the main commentary that you are interested in, the rest is going to be kept up to date, going to be kept at the same verse, so that you can just peek at them. So that's a neat feature. Logos is good at supporting you at reading your Bible. So if we just open our Bible here, we have quite a few ways in which we can enhance our Bible reading. So besides just having a few Bibles opened at distinct resources at the same time, just like we did with the commentary and the Bible right now, and linking them through the set feature, we can also use the parallel versions display. So we can pick another version here. So let's say we pick the Lexham Bible version or Lexham Hebrew Bible, and we turn on the multiple resources view, and so we now have two parallel Bibles open here, and as we scroll through any of them, the other one is going to be kept in sync. It's in a way very similar to the set feature, but it's specific to Bibles, because that's obviously quite a focus of this software, and we can add more Bibles to it. So whatever you prefer, you can have many versions of the Bible open, and you can read through them. Another feature that the Bible reading part of Logos supports is interlinears. So you can have your Hebrew or Greek interlinears displayed here as you are reading through your Bible, which is also quite useful feature. There are many other features that Logos has, and it groups them into two main sections here. One is called Guides, the other one is called Tools. We are going to go through some of them now. We don't have time to go through all of them, but we are going to pick those that I find the most useful. One of the best features of Logos is a guide that's called Bible Word Study Guide. Now, it can be accessed from here, but we are going to go about it differently. So let's open our Bible, and it's opened at the beginning of Genesis, and let's say we want to explore the word God here. So we will right click on it, and right away we get a bunch of information like that the Hebrew behind it is Elohim and so on. And let's say we want to dig deeper, and we will open our Bible word study on this particular word. It will analyze our word and display number of data points. There is perhaps more than any of us would really need. But right here at the top, we have links to our lexicons, so we can open it and explore the word in our lexicon. We have our frequency analysis here that shows us that the word is used 2,570 times in the Old Testament, that a huge majority of translations is either God or gods, and then there is this minority where other translations are used like he, him, and so on. This is, by the way, based on NIV translation. We can even change the translation that this analysis is based on if we want. If we click on this frequency graph here, we will be given more details on how many times that given word occurs in various Old Testament books. So we can see that in Deuteronomy, this particular word occurs 374 times, and so on. If we click on the word itself, we will see examples of its usage. So that will take a while because there is more than 2,500 verses to load. Okay, so we have the sample of verses here. You can see that the word God is highlighted, the word that we are studying. If we scroll down, there is a bunch of other things. There is the sense graph here, which can be really useful. There is actually the preposition graph here. So what prepositions in Hebrew are used with this word? So you can see that the preposition el, to, is used upon, al is used tachat, under, the preposition bet, inside. It's even visually displayed that, upon is upon and tachat is under, and so on. I really like this view. So that's the Bible Word Study Guide, one of the best features of Logos. Another great tool at your disposal in Logos is a guide that's called Bible Passage Guide. It will allow you to study any passage of the Bible in great details. And so let's say we want to study Genesis 1, and it's already giving us a few options. We can either go for Genesis 1 as such, or we can pick one of these topical options here. So let's say we want to study the creation of the world. So now Logos is going to reach out to all our resources and try to collect all the information that is there for this particular passage. It will take a while because there is a lot of resources to scan, to search through, and so it will gradually load the results, and depends on the size of your collection as well as on how fast your computer is. So if any of your content, meaning any notes, clippings, any sermons that you have created in Logos mentions this particular passage, it will bring it in here. So you can see that I have one clipping here that mentions this particular section of the Bible. Then it will display all the commentaries that you have that say something about this particular Bible passage. So it displays the top 10, and you can go for more. If you have any journals in your library, it will display them as well as the parallel passages, the cross references, other important verses related to this topic. It will also give you the important words used in this passage, such as bara or Elohim, so that you can study them in more detail. And then it will just bring in all the resources you have, things on the geography, on the people and characters in the story, and so on and so on. So this gives you a good starting point to study a particular passage of the Bible in real detail. Another relatively simple tool you have is something that's called text comparison. That gives you a chance to basically compare the text, the Bible text, in various translations. So let's say we want to continue with our exploration of Genesis 1. So we will open Genesis 1, and it displays it in a number of translations. You can actually change the translations you want to be displayed here. So you can select them to your liking. We can just add in English Septuagint here, and it will just add it to the display. And you can basically read your Bible in these parallel translations, and it gives you a chance to compare translations if you want to really dig into the differences between translations in particular section. Another tool that I want to mention is a guide that's called Topic Guide, which gives you the ability to look for particular topics and grab all the information that is there in your resources, display it and read through it. So let's say we want to continue in our exploration of the creation, and so we want to look for creation. We have a bunch of options here, but let's say we just want to search for creation as such. Again, Logos is going to go and scan all our resources and bring in all the stuff that we have on this topic. So we have our books here, dictionaries and so on that say stuff about this. We can obviously open them right from here. And there is a list of verses related to that particular term. And then a bunch of other informations like maps from atlases and other things, pictures and so on. So this gives you the ability to search for a particular topic and explore it in all the resources you have, and you even have the ability to buy some more stuff if you are not satisfied with what you have in your library on that particular topic. One other feature of Logos that I want to mention is the ability to write documents in Logos. So let's say we want to create a new document and that it's going to be a sermon. So you can open a new document. You can title it and you can fill in this kind of a header. Let's say we are done with it, and then you can start typing. And typing in Logos is, well, it's just fine, but formatting and editing and everything, it's just not as good as a normal full-fledged Word editor like Microsoft Word or Google Docs or even OpenOffice and these free text editors. So that's one of the features that I don't really think is necessarily up there in Logos, but there are features of it that you will not find in those other text editors, because Logos is obviously interconnected. So if you, for example, want to bring in some Bible verse, it will know that it's Bible and it will make it dynamic field like this, so that you can actually switch the translation here if you want to some other translation and so on. So there are good features if you want to bring in some text from other resource. Let's say we want to paste in here something from something else. It will also be kind of a dynamic block here that you can later on, you can click on, and it will open it back in that particular on that particular section. So it's all interlinked, interconnected. But there are features of normal text editor that seem to be missing here, like table of contents and stuff like that. And just editing in it doesn't feel as natural and as smooth as in normal text editors. There are many other features in Logos that we didn't even look at. There are many other guides that we could explore, but we just don't have time. There are a lot of other tools that I am sure are interesting for someone. I tend to use over and over the same features in Logos, like the Bible word study, for example, and I pretty much ignore the rest. But I am sure there are other people out there that are using the tools that I ignore and are not using the tools that I use. So Logos is really powerful Bible software, and it comes with its price tag. And one more thing to mention before we move on to the conclusion is the language. So while Logos is supporting many languages, and there are actually resources in quite a few languages, I think it's still pretty much English-only piece of software, because as I have already mentioned, Logos is as powerful as your library is, as your set of resources is, and a huge majority of the resources is in English. So I would only consider Logos if you are truly planning to use things and are able to read things in English. So, for example, if we look up resources on Genesis, right, here in the Logos library, which is the resources that we can purchase, you can see if we scroll down here on the language selection that we have about 1,500 resources on Genesis in English, 67 in Hebrew, and the rest, like German is a major language, but there are only 9 resources on Genesis in German and so on. So, I mean, English is pretty much the only option if you are considering buying Logos. So what to say in conclusion? Logos is in a way Bible nerds' heaven, but that heaven comes with a significant price tag. So would I recommend it to you? That really depends on if you can afford it, and only you can evaluate it. Two things I have noticed when using Logos is that I now buy books only in Logos, because when I buy a book in Logos, it will be integrated in there, it will be ready to be utilized over and over again. Whereas if I buy a paper book, and I still prefer actually reading paper books, but when I buy paper book, it will just sit on my shelf and I will not be able to easily use it over and over again. The other thing that I have noticed is that Logos is kind of forcing me into constant rabbit holes, because you have that context, all the tools constantly available to you. So focusing on a really calm, focused reading is a little difficult. So I guess that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed this video and see you next time.